What's going on, everybody? Showing the King here, and I'm here to bring you my review for Power Rangers Megaforce Episode 4 titled Stranger Ranger. Uh, this episode is going to be kind of difficult for me to review. Overall, I'll tell you up front, I overall enjoyed the episode, but this episode also showed me that I won't be able to watch every single episode of Power Rangers Megaforce for certain reasons. Just to let you guys into my head a little bit, I've been watching Power Rangers since the first episode, Day of the Dumpster. I remember I used to come home from school. First thing I would do was watch Power Rangers, and where I lived, it was Fox 5. And from there, I've seen at least half of every season of Power Rangers from then till now. I have my favorite series, and but in general, I've stayed consistent with my thoughts on Power Rangers. Again, it's one of those shows that you watch and you enjoy for what it is. But I also I'm reviewing this more differently than some because I'm an adult now. So some of the things that I see that are really, really cheesy really get to me. And this episode had a lot of cheese. This episode should have been titled Cheese Whiz. So the main villain of this episode was Dragon Fly, Flies, or it was Dragon something. I couldn't remember exactly what he said his name was Dragonflies. I'll call him Dragonflies. And his ability was he was super fast. Now, overall, this fit the standard Power Ranger noir. Dragonfly comes, destroys parts of the city. The Rangers drop everything, fight the bad guy, and they win. I'm not going to do a full review because the full review, we know where it goes. I want to kind of touch on some of the things that I liked and a couple things that I did not like, and then I'll give you guys an overall thought on the episode itself. What I disliked. So, the reason why this title was called Stranger Ranger, there was a guy at the juice bar who was pretending to be the Red Ranger. Of course, Troy, he walks into the juice bar. Here's this guy talking about he's a Red Ranger. And, he decides not to do anything about it. The guy, is just running his mouth. Speaking of Troy, does anybody else think that he's just a little bit too pretty to be the Red Ranger? I mean, he looks like an Abercrombie and Fitch model. Like, I totally feel like every time I walk past an Abercrombie and Fitch or American Eagle store, I'm going to see a picture of him, with his arm behind his head with no shirt on. It's just weird. But anyway, so he just this is the part that this is so funny to me. So he decides to go take some empty milk cartons and take it to the woods. And keep in mind, this is before Dragonfly even came about, and decided to practice hitting milk cartons tied to rope as training for what? I don't know. It's kind of one of those episodes where the Rangers train for a certain situation, but the issue here is that the danger actually happened after the training happened before the actual danger or the need for the danger happened, and I'll explain. So Troy sets up all these milk cartons in the woods to string and have like this little wooden horse thing that you can hop over, puts on a blindfold and just pulls the string and everything starts moving around, and he's like dodging around it and kicking and just doing all types of weird stuff. It just looks so corny to me. I don't know why, but it was just hilarious. So of course, when Dragonfly shows up, he's already pre-prepared because he had been doing his special training. So he was able to attack Dragonfly. Now this is another thing I wanted to talk about. So there's a part where, because the guy I told you guys about earlier, he is actually running around pretending to be the Red Ranger. So when someone runs in the juice bar and says, "Hey, there's a monster attacking the city," everyone of course looks to this guy and is like, "Hey, Red Ranger, go take your butt out there and go fight the monster." So of course now he's like all caught up in his lies. So he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go fight this monster. So he goes running off to go fight the monster. And keep in mind, at the exact same time, the real Rangers get a call on their communicators, which I still haven't seen yet. It's just like everyone, the camera just zooms in on their pant leg, and it's just like a little, an alert system. So I don't know if they have communicators or if the communicator is their actual morphers. I don't know yet. I haven't seen anything. But they get the call at the exact same time, and then they run outside and morph and run outside to go fight the evil. This is the thing that kind of pisses. This is the kind of thing, again, doesn't really bear too much on the action episode. I don't want you guys to think that I'm bashing the episode necessarily, because overall it gets a good score, and I'll get to that. But I'm just pointing out little silly things that I just found that was very funny. So the guy gets to the Fox Ranger gets to the battle before the real Rangers. I'm like, you guys have on power suits, you have all these technology and all this crap. Why does a guy that's a human being on foot get to the monster before you do? And you guys pretty much left at the exact same time. So when he got there first, I was like, what did they stop to go pick up some milk and cookies? Like, why is he getting here before the real Rangers? Made no sense whatsoever. Then, it gets better. It gets better. So they have their first encounter with dragonflies, and they get their butts handed to them, and then they have to do special training with Troy to get ready to fight them for the next battle. So of course, the Fox Ranger guy, he's talking to them. They're trying to talk to him like he's a 5-year-old. It's like, you really shouldn't do this. Pretending to be someone you're not is very dangerous. You could have gotten hurt and gotten us hurt. Do not do that again. They run off, and then of course, like a 5-year-old, he's like, I wonder where they're going. So he's like running off and chasing them in the woods. Again, these are Power Rangers in power suits, and they can't outrun a human being. So he somehow tracks them to the woods where the Rangers are now doing their own special training, and they're dodging these milk cartons. Like, it's just like seeing them in action with these milk cartons is hilarious, because it's almost like the way the sense of danger on their face when they're dodging empty milk cartons. You would think that the milk cartons actually had like acid in it or something, or they were like the milk cartons were lined with like nails or rusty nails or something. But no, they were just like, oh my god, this is so dangerous. This stuff is tough. And so the guy eventually makes it to where they are, and he catches them. But of course, they've already morphed back into their normal form, into their Ranger form, so he couldn't tell who they actually are. And of course, they're just like, "What are you doing here? How did you find us?" Being a Ranger is and this is the best part. And then I get on to the good stuff. So Troy tells him, being a Ranger is tough work. It takes years and years and years of training and dedication and blah 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 blah. Nobody can just be a Ranger. And I had actually paused the episode at that point, because I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, y'all Bama's only been Rangers for like 2 weeks. Maybe a month you guys been a Ranger. So how you gonna sit there and tell this man that being a Ranger takes years and years and years of dedication? As far as I know so far, you're the only Ranger with real martial arts training and ability. Everybody else was just a normal person who got picked randomly or because of their moral compass to become a Ranger. So he could have very well been one of those people, young teenagers with attitudes that could have been picked for, to be a Power Ranger. So I just thought that was really funny that he had to go ahead and point out the fact that it took years of dedication and training to become a Power Ranger when they only been a Power Rangers for maybe a month. But again, overall, like I said, that was just some of the funny things that I noticed about this episode. Overall, we did get some new, and again, anytime we get anything new, it's a good thing. We got 2 new sets of Zords, but in a whole new way that I've never been seen in Power Rangers before, and I thought this was really, really cool. So, as they're fighting dragonflies, the Blue Ranger pulls out the Sea Brothers, and the Sea Brothers are mini Zords. One was a hammerhead, one was I think it was like a chainsaw fish or something, and then the other ones was another kind of shark. But they're mini Zords, and what they do is they connect to the actual Ranger blasters, and they almost use some sort of gun attack, kind of like when they combine all their Power Ranger power weapons together, and they're able to shoot at him and injure and destroy him. But of course, the Zubats show up, and they make him grow, and then they turn into the Megazord. And I thought at that point that the episode would be over. There'd be a couple of punches, and then they use the little Megazord strike, destroy him in the episode. But no, the Dragonflies guy is running around the city at the same speed as he was when he was normal, and then at some point he's running away through the city, and the Rangers in their Megazord is actually chasing after him. And after a while, I was thinking to myself, this must be the biggest city ever, because these guys have been running a long time and at supersonic speed. So how long is this city, and how straight is the path that he's running? But again, just my little funny pet peeves. Eventually, they do end up in the woods, which is actually kind of cool because it does. I thought for sure that by the time they caught up to him or stopped him, they would still be in the city. But I thought it was kind of cool that they ended up in the woods somewhere, and they were able to finish him off with new power cards. Like I told you guys before, these power cards are going to make Saban so much money. Like these companies are going to make millions off of these freaking cards because they have more Zords, and these Zords actually attach to the current Megazord. And these were called the Land Brothers. So we got the Sea Brothers and the Land Brothers in the same episode, and for me that is a daggone sure good win. The Land Brothers, one was it was a drill. It looked like Excadrill if you watch Pokemon. One was a dinosaur, and the other one was, I don't remember what the other one was. If you guys remember, you can tell me. But they attached to the feet, and it gave them the ability for more speed to catch up to Dragonflies. And in the end, they used a little, flying kick move, kind of like Mike Guy from Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm or Generations. His little dynamic Intori. Again, I'm showing myself. I watch Naruto as well, so I know about those things. So overall, like I said, if I'm going to rate this out of a 5, I'm going to give this episode a solid 3.5. Not quite as great as the episode when the Megazords first premiered, but I love seeing the new additions to the actual overall powers. I think it's original to the series, and it definitely was not a bad episode. Again, the little funny things I mentioned didn't really hurt the score. It's just something that I observed and I thought was funny. But I want to know what you guys think. Did you also find those little antics hilarious? Were you also, psyched up about the new additions of the new little mini Megazords as well as the big ones that attach to the feet? I'm pretty sure they're going to also have stuff. Oh, you know what? There was the other. I do remember the other one. It's the Pincer Zord. The reason why I remember it now is because it actually attached to the head. That's why I forgot. It was 2 that was on the feet, 1 on the head, and the other one on the head of the Land Brothers was a pincer. But again, like I said, it was awesome. The episode was great. I want to know what you guys think. Comment in the section below. Thumbs up for Power Rangers Megazord, and definitely subscribe to my channel. This is Shonuff the King, the Jack of all trades, and the master of them all. Have a good day.